welcome back to KnittaCass Creates. I am here with my favorite mug. Oh, that's kind of yucky side of it. My favorite mug. We can do it. And I'm here and I'm ready to show what I've been working on for the last month and what I want to work on. And last episode I realized that I did not talk about any of the books that I'm reading or any of my favorite books as promised. So I am going to try to fit that in at the end if I don't get scatterbrained. I have been back to nursing school, and this next semester is pretty intense. So most of my time has been studying and family time, which family always comes first. So this might be a once a month podcast until I'm out of nursing school, and then I can probably increase the frequency. So grab your favorite cup and come join me. Sorry about the swallow noise. Okay, so I made some notes this time, so hopefully I can stay on task. So I am KnittaCass, also known as Cassie. I am a mom of 4. I am coming to you from Vermont on February 10th. It was my sister's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Katrina. And it's like 4:30 in the morning because my house is quiet and I went to bed early, so this is the best time to podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at KnittaCass Creates 16, on Ravelry at KnittaCass, just KnittaCass, and on YouTube at KnittaCass Creates. And I'll try to put a little bubble here. So first of all, what have I been working on? I will start with some finished objects, which is pretty exciting. So I actually have to put you on pause for a minute because I left one in my room. Okay, back. So I've got my finished object, and I just wanted to show you real quick. So this is, I guess I could probably take this out. My knitting patterns binder. So I have been putting my patterns, let's see if I can show you, in these plastic sleeves and putting them in a binder, and it makes it pretty organized and easy to find things that I want. I kind of have a system, but not 100% yet. So I believe I had the butterfly pattern out. This is a butterfly hat that I finished. Well, I wrote down who it was by. So it is the Finished Objects Butterfly Hat by Sophia Kremen. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's a really nice, simple hat. It's got a really nice kind of puffy design here, and then these look like butterflies. And I did it out of my yarn. So in my first podcast, I talked about this yarn. It's called Mittens. That's the colorway. And I said that it was from Knitcrate, which is totally wrong. It is from, I said it was from Knit Picks. I said it was from Knit Picks, but it's from Knitcrate, which is a monthly prescription of yarn. So it was, I don't know if it was my December or January colorway, but it was called Mittens, and it's got this marled look to it. It's kind of purple, pink, mauve, I'm not really sure, with like some white speckle in it. It's really gorgeous. So this is called Butterfly Hat by Sophia Kremen. I'm going to put it on my hair. Just made my hair nice. So I would normally pull it down a little more. So it actually looks quite cute. I mean, I'm not a big hat person, but I love butterflies. And so real easy. It took me 2 basketball games, and I am a loud, obnoxious mom at basketball games, telling the kids to put their arms up and box out and clapping and cheering. And sometimes I clap for the other side too, because if they do something that's really amazing or a lot of teamwork, I think that needs to be acknowledged, and I'm a big fan of like learning the sport and less about the competition. Okay, so this was 2 basketball games of cheering, and it was done. Simple. I rarely had to look at the pattern. It's pretty easy. I think it's like an 8-row repeat. Highly recommend. And it's super cute. It's if I wear it on my hand for a little bit longer than 5 minutes, it's pretty warm, but I would not suggest it in the recent weather of minus 17. Yeah, 17 below. So I would not wear this hat in that, but I think it's going to look super cute, like in the spring or early campfire season when it's a little bit chilly. I am so excited about this one. So I have a niece coming in April, and I'm so excited. And and I've also been watching The Mandalorian, which I totally love, and my brother, who is the baby's dad, is totally in love with The Mandalorian as well. And so, unfortunately, I didn't have color ink, so this is the pattern. It's a free pattern. It's a Baby Yoda for babies. It's a little sweater with like a hoodie on it. I'll try to put a color picture in here because the color really does it justice. It is super cute, and you can roll it up so that you knit it a little bit bigger than newborn, but I think it will fit like up to 3 months, depending on how chunky the babe is, because some babes are chunkier than others. So this is the hood with a little Yoda ears. How cute is that? And this yarn colorway is Peapod by Knit Picks, and then my mittens colorway. So I messed up a little bit. This collar is supposed to be rolled down, and the hood's supposed to be sewed in a little further down so that you can have like the rolled collar. I totally spaced, but I think it's still going to be okay. It really is even. It just needs to be blocked. And then it's got seed stitch on the end of the sleeves. The sleeves are kind of long. The torso's kind of long. And the intent is that when it's a newborn, you can kind of roll up the extra, because if you've ever seen Baby Yoda, like his jacket thing that he's wearing is rolled up here, it's rolled up at the sleeves, and he just looks like this tiny little thing in this huge jacket. So it would look something like this. So I'm super excited. I really hope that I get some pictures of baby Sophia in it as soon as possible, because I just can't help it. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast, but this colorway is mittens. And when I was the first child out of my parents to give them a grandchild. And we do this silly little thing in our family where we give our bellies names when we're pregnant, because some of us don't find out if we're having a boy or girl, so we give them names. So my dad wanted my belly name to be Mittens because he just thinks that's so cute. And so that's been a running joke in our family for years. My daughter, who was the first pregnancy, just turned 16. So I think it's kind of special. It gives it a little extra, like, inside family heritage to have this be Mittens. Her belly name was not Mittens. It ended up being Egbert. And I believe Sophia's belly name, because they did find out it's a girl and they're going to name her Sophia, her belly name, I believe, is Baby G. So, we're a unique family, but it makes things fun. So I made that, so I think that's it for my finished. No, it's not. I made one more thing. So I have the coolest librarian. I actually have 2 libraries that I love. We live in a town where the 2 neighboring towns feel like one. They're slightly different. They have their own town office, their own town meetings, but the culture of the 2 towns, because we go to the same school, feels like we're all one big community. So one of the libraries, I got this book. Oh my goodness, seriously. So this is Harry Potter Knitting Magic by Tanis Gray. A lot of people probably follow her on Instagram. I swear she's been putting teasers out for over a year. Like there's the owl. So cute. I think this is a scarf. I've looked through the book briefly. Little pixie. There's Ron sweaters. A Weasley sweater in here. Oh my goodness. So adorable. So adorable. So I'm having so much fun. So she took a picture of this and said something like, calling all knitters. Who wants this book? And I was like, oh my goodness. So I was like, oh, I want that book so bad. So she reserved it for me, and my husband went and picked it up while I was sleeping before I had to go to work. And I probably spent a good hour, maybe 2, just looking through the patterns. Amazing. Highly recommend. I don't think the patterns are on Ravelry yet. I'm not sure if she plans on doing that. But if you go to Tanis Gray, she is on Instagram. She will have a link where you can get this book. I do know that it's also on Amazon because it's been in my cart forever. And I believe it just barely came out. So cute. So on her patterns, She has beginner, easy, intermediate, advanced, and complex, and they're little lightning bolts instead of stars. I first fell in love with this book because it had a baby mobile that was Harry Potter themed, and my niece that's coming, both her parents love Harry Potter. I think her mom more than dad, and me and my sister and my other brother are like huge Potterheads. So I'll show you the picture because this won't give away the pattern. So this is got the sorting hat, and it's got excuse me, an animal from each of the houses, and the sorting hat's in the middle. So I really, really wanted to knit this for the baby before I even knew gender, which it doesn't matter. So that was one of my project ideas for sure. And so of course I had to immediately cast on the sorting hat, and that is a finished project. So it didn't take very long. I'm not very good at stuffed animals and things where you have to knit them up and then you have to sew and kind of create facial features or eyeballs or like sunken things. So I'm sure it looks much better by other knitters, but I'm still proud because you can tell what it is. So this is, let me see if I can see with the eyes. Okay, so this is the sorting hat. I gotta get rid of the end. So you make the mouth here and the eyes here, and in the sorting hat it's kind of, they're not eyes that poke out, they're like sunken in the hat, and so it's kind of difficult to see, but I have a really good imagination so I can see it, and I think mom and dad are definitely going to be able to tell that this is a sorting hat despite my not very well defined face. Super easy to knit. It uses worsted weight yarn. I think it took me a TV show. Probably would have taken a little bit less if I was familiar with the pattern, but I had to keep stopping and looking. So super cute, and I look forward to casting on. I'm not sure what house I'll do next. I might do Ravenclaw because that's my house. So finished objects, is that it? Yes, that's it for finished objects. So I've been working on quite a few. So one of my goals was to knit a pair of socks every month. That's not happening. It might happen later on in the year. But I have so many things that I want to cast on, and none of them are socks, and that's okay. I'm not going to feel bad. So, speaking of, so if we carry on the tradition of the Harry Potter book here, The Knitting Magic by Tanis Gray, I started, so my youngest is 6, and he has been my guinea pig, so I made him, the first sweater I made was for him. The first stuffed animal I made was a bear. He loves it, but it wasn't my greatest work. It was my first stuffed animal I made. It's for him, and so we always pick on how he's my knitting guinea pig, and he doesn't care. He loves it because he's less worried about how it looks and more, he gets his excitement from the fact that I made something for him. Like, he really enjoys that, and he likes watching the process. He actually wants to learn how to knit, so we've been doing a little bit of that, which has been kind of fun. So, I am knitting the owl. So you have to kind of use your imagination to see it, but this is the owl body. This is where the feet are going to be, and then it comes back, and these are the tail feathers. These are just ends that need to be woven in. So I think the next step is to start the head or the feet, and then you make these really nice wings. So this is going to be an owl. Use your imagination, people. I can totally see it, but I'm very imaginative. So there's my owl. It's going to be for Weston. It's much bigger than what it calls for in the pattern. It calls for worsted weight, and I have this super bulky yarn. Did I bring it out? I didn't bring it out, but I bought this bulky yarn because it matched my Find My Way sweater, but it was too thick, and so I have like 3 or 4 skeins just kind of hanging around, and it's not going to become a sweater. And it just, I know that his sweater is his owl is mostly white with colors in it, but I just think you can use a little creative license when you make a pattern, and I just think that this looks very natural and animal-like, and is just perfect for an owl. So, I'm not sure how long this will take. It's kind of my fun project, but I have a couple things with deadlines first. So that's the start of an owl, my headless owl. Okay, what else is on my needles? Oh, this one's really exciting too. So I started this project so long ago. It's called Find My Way Sweater by Dragonhorn Designs of Dragonhorn Yarn. Her name is Tristan, and it has been hibernating for so long. And last week I decided to knit on it, and I was tired. I couldn't sleep, and I said, okay, I'll put some Netflix on. I'll start knitting. I am almost to binding off here, and then I needed to do a little bit of shoulder, and then do a 3 needle cast off or bind off to make the, oh my goodness, words, to sew it together, for lack of a better word, seam, the shoulder seams, oh my goodness. Okay, and as I talked on last episode, I had a hard time finding the right yarn, so I found a yarn that I think would work. It does have a drastic color difference, and you know what? I don't mind, because it's got a good story to tell. And so you can tell where I changed colors. And so when I was knitting when I was tired, I was knitting, this is called a horseshoe cable, and I was knitting this last portion of it. And as soon as I bound off and was getting excited to move to the next step, I noticed that the center portion here was like way off center. And I don't know how I didn't notice, because if you're someone who's been knitting for a while, you can kind of read your pattern like, okay, so this is the same repeat, this should fall here, or I should have so many knits and so many purls here, I remember that. Like, some of it becomes repetitious, and then you can read your knitting. So I'm really surprised I didn't pick it up, because this is like 16 rows. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, 16 rows is totally an exaggeration, but long enough I should have noticed. So anyway, so that's done. I did the 3 needle bind off, which is gorgeous. So it looks a little hard to tell on the outside because this is in garter stitch, which means 1 row of knit, 1 row of purl, which makes this nice kind of crimpy. But if I turn it inside out, so this is what it looks like on the inside. So it makes this really perfect seam, and then you flip it and you can't see it. So you can use it even if you're just doing knit stitches, which if you've ever done any mattress sewing or any kind of sewing your seams together, when you're doing knit, 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 you'll know when you make a mistake. You can see it. It's pretty obvious. So I'm pretty excited that this is not like that. So this, unfortunately, because of the size and shape that I am, and that this is supposed to be an oversized sweater, it looks quite large, but when I put it on, it's not. Look at how gorgeous that is. So it's got cable section here, and then the big horseshoe cable here, little cable, and it's just gorgeous. And there's going to be some cable work on the sides, or on the sleeves. So I've just got my sleeves, look. So excited. So I can't wait till that's done. Maybe I'll be wearing it in my next podcast. I guess I don't have a whole lot on my needles right now because I finished things over the weekend. But this one, I was going to finish it this morning, and then I was like, oh, I can podcast. So I'm in the middle of a row. So let's see if I can sew this while I'm talking about it. So this is called the Chevron Baby Blanket, and it is by, did I write it down? Yes, Chevron Baby Blanket by Espace Tricot. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it helps make this gorgeous chevron blanket. And so when I think of baby blankets, and I think of the blankets my mom made me when I was growing up that were crocheted, she did a lot of blankets with this crochet look, and it just reminds me of like a blanket made with love. So I really wanted to do that. So this, I didn't follow the pattern exactly. I followed the pattern enough to do this chevron piece, and then I kind of made my own pattern of, I want these colors in it, I want white to break it up, and I want the white to be a little bit smaller than the colors. And so I just kind of took the pattern, but then made it my own in terms of how many colors I used and what order I put them in. And you can do that with any pattern, and I think that's just so fun. but definitely wouldn't have been able to do the chevron without her guidelines, so she still gets full credit. Even though I changed the order of things, it's still fully her pattern. So I highly recommend checking it out. It is a free pattern, which is even better because nothing beats free. Okay, I've got a stitch marker on it from when I last podcast. I'm super excited to show you the difference of that. So this is, so far I've made a hat for, oh, I didn't bring my newborn hat. I made a newborn hat out of the mittens colorway for Sophia, and I have tried to make newborn hats so many times, and I always think, wow, this is a really tall hat, this can't be possible, and I like rewrite the pattern and start the decreases where I think it makes sense. Not a good idea. So newborns have large heads, and the reason that the newborn hat patterns look like there's a large head is so that it can accommodate for different sizes because they stretch, and you can always roll up the brim. So if you're knitting a newborn hat pattern or any kind of baby hat pattern and it seems like the hat is way too tall to be normal, just follow the pattern. I have learned that the hard way, as I learn most things in the knitting world. So newborn hat, I made the baby Yoda sweater. This blanket's going to be done. Oh, I don't have any knitting time today, but maybe tomorrow after sign language class. I started the baby mobile, so I've got the sorting hat and I've got 4 houses to knit a character for, which I don't think will take too long. And the baby shower is not this coming weekend, but next weekend, and I wanted to make another sweater, so I'm not sure. I mean, baby sweaters are quick and easy, but for someone who doesn't knit them routinely, I use a little more brain space, and I can't, like, it's not the type of knitting I can bring to a game. It's not the type of knitting that I can, binge watch Netflix. I mean, a little bit, but not something that I actually have to pay attention to. So, anyways, so I'm not sure if I'll make another sweater or not, or maybe I will, but it won't be given to her at the baby shower. Okay, so this is where I last podcasted. So this is my stitch marker, Simply Serving. It's a hot cocoa mug. It's kind of a Christmassy thing, and it's got a little gingerbread. So that's where I last podcasted. That's where I was. So this is the bottom of the blanket. So I like this kind of orangey pink. I chose as the trim, and then I wanted the white to block out all the colors. So the trim, white, purple, white, this kind of mauve, white, a bright pink, white, and border. It's quite long. It's a little bit longer probably than it needs to be, but then maybe she can get more out of it. So I'm pretty excited. And I'm just really proud of how it turned out. Sorry if you can hear the plow. So we live in Vermont, and usually winter we get a lot of snow, and this winter we haven't been, and we've been pretty lucky. And then the last couple weeks we just keep getting slammed with snow, and we've had a lot of snow days. So kids are happy. I don't like it because I don't enjoy the snow as much as I did when I was little. What do I want to knit next? So I definitely want to knit as much as I can out of this. I actually told my husband I can't keep this book forever. It's a library book. My birthday's coming up in April. Yes, I know it's February. I need this book for my birthday, and I'm pretty sure he said he was going to get it. So I want to finish the baby mobile, the Harry Potter baby mobile. So that's kind of first priority knitting. And then there's this sweater called the Maxi, or the Maxine sweater. Oh my gosh, look at the detail on that. It's just like the perfect baby sweater. Like it's cutesy, like makes you want to vomit kind of cutesy. I am that kind of person when it comes to babies, so I really, really want to knit this. It looks like it's a raglan pattern. I know that I've done some lace knitting. I know that I've done some bubbly knitting. So I should be able to manage this, but how long it takes me kind of determines if it will be done for the baby shower. And this pattern gives sizes for 0 to 3. I think it's pretty inclusive. 0 to 3. Of course, I printed it in a funky way. I think it's all the way up to a year, and it gives different sizes. So it's the Maxine sweater, and that is by, did I write it down? Yes, so this is a Maxine baby cardigan jacket by Arianna Mel on Ravelry. So I want to make that, and then there's this butterfly sweater, which uses sock yarn. And it just uses, you just use a self-striping sock yarn. I have a picture of it somewhere. Oh no, I don't have a picture. Alright, I'll try to put a picture over here, or over here. So it uses self-striping sock yarn to give it a little bit of dimension. It has a little ruffle on the end, and it kind of goes out at the bottom, so it kind of looks like you could use it as a sweater dress when they're little, and then it can turn into a sweater as they grow. And then it has cute little butterfly buttons, and what would be cuter than that? So that is something I want to knit as well. So Dragonhorn Yarn, who is probably like, I probably have a huge yarn crush on her and her mom. So her mom is Yarn Cafe Creations. Together they're the girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast. And they are amazing. So they both dye yarn, they both make patterns, and they're just truly, truly creative, and they're really down to earth, and they're very proactive and friendly about mental health awareness and ending the stigma, and I am all for all of that. So she came out with a Spellman sweater pattern, and I believe she actually came out with it last year when, when Sabrina, so the Netflix series Sabrina, I think it's The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She was really inspired by a lot of the sweaters that Sabrina wears. She wears a lot of vintage-like sweaters. And she designed a couple of sweaters, and one of them is called the Spellman. And it's a cropped fitted sweater, and it's got some bobbles on the sleeves. I think here, I'll put a picture in. It's gorgeous. So she's doing a Spellman Cal, which is a knit along. And it's from now until April, and I really, really want to do it. I picked out 2 colors of her mom's yarn that I want to use. One's a really nice blue teal. I'll put a picture of it up here, and then the other one's a really nice pink, because pink. And so that is something that I really, really want to knit too. I don't think I'll be finished in April because I am a slow, full-size human, especially plumpier human sweater knitter, and I'm distracted by all these cute baby projects. So that is definitely like my most talking to me, makes me happy, fill my cup kind of knit. I guess I'm at Loot. So Loot is going to be my mail call section, because who doesn't love mail? So yarn mail. So this is from Knit Picks, which is the website with affordable yarn, and I got this green, which the skein is in one of my knitting bags somewhere. Oh, it's right here. So this is a bag by Nicole Stitches, or NSP Designs, and this is my little, I call it a yarn sock. Holds my yarn. This is the Crazy Sock Lady pin, because I won this from a contest from her. So this is Peapod, which just yells Yoda. And Spring Peapod, but Yoda. So there's Peapod from Knit Picks. And I also got, for the butterfly sweater, I got this self-striping yarn. It's got some pinks and purples and some like kind of pinkish, pink, reddish pink. It's just gorgeous. It's just the right amount of variety and also holding it together at the same time. So cohesive. Rose Garden. So this is called Rose Garden, and it's Knit Picks Felici, which is self-striping sock yarn. So I've got a couple skeins of those. So I'm thinking the butterfly sweater in this, which would be super cute. If I make it a little oversized, she can wear it in the spring. That's my plan. I also got, might make a cute pair of socks too. I also got, this is DK Weight Swish, which is super soft and really nice to work with. That's the same as the Picoult color. And this one is called Rouge, and my camera's making it a lot brighter than it is. I guess maybe I mean it's bright, but it's not neon. So Rouge, I'm really excited. Might make the maxine out of this one, or I might make it out of this one. I don't know. This one's also DK Swish, so this is called Amethyst Heather, which I think if my sister saw this yarn, she would die for. So it kind of looks variegated, and I'm not sure if it's just me and my eyes and me learning about yarn, or if it's truly variegated. But it's purple, but it has some kind of undertones. It almost looks like there's a jewel. Oh, there we go. You can see it. Like, how gorgeous is that? So there's that. Knitcrate, you get 2 skeins of yarn a month. They have a couple different ways you can do it. My sister got me back into it. I used it a long time ago, and I wanted to do the artisan box, which uses like untraditional yarns, and I thought that would be fun. But for someone who is, I'm well versed at many knitting techniques, so for most things they would not call me a beginner, but in terms of knowing the yarns and how to work with the yarns, I'm definitely a beginner in that aspect. So I got this yarn and it felt like hemp cord. It was really rough and I didn't know what to make with it, so I didn't use it at all, and I felt like I spent a lot of money on it, so I was pretty upset. So I stopped my subscription instead of, solving the problem like an adult. So anyways, my sister started doing this again. She really liked it. She gave me a promo code, so I started doing it, and it's a little bit different now, and I don't even know what I subscribe to. It's not artisan and it's not sock because that was booked, but I believe it's DK Weight that's coming. And look at these colors. Oh my goodness, I squealed when I opened this. It's like sunshine in a box. So here's a really nice yellow one, and then it's got some oranges in it, and it just reminds me of like Wicked Bright Sunshine Peach. See if it says the color. The colorway is Golden Lion. It's called Knitology Worsted. Okay, it's worsted weight. Superwash merino wool. It's by Brooklyn Boy Knits. Look at how cute that sticker is. I just love it. So this is the Golden Lion, and it's super soft. And then this one is also Knitology Worsted, and it's Safari Sunset. Look at that. I can't wait to see how this knits up. I have no idea what I'm going to make out of it, but I want to make something that I use a lot because I just love how bright and sunshiny it is. And I think I'm going to make the lion for the Harry Potter baby mobile out of this. I think that would be super sweet. And then you always get like a little goodie in it. It's always different. And so the little goodie I got, and I squealed, I don't know why, it's super cute, but this is this tiny little knitted hat with a pom-pom, super soft. I think I'm going to put it on the end of my pencils when I'm doing my pattern designing, which, let's face it, might not release anything until summer because nursing student. I'm going to make a hashtag. It's probably a hashtag. Hashtag nursing student, because a lot of people will say things like because kids, and I love that and I use it a lot, but this year I'm feeling like because nursing school. Then you also get a book that talks about the yarn, talks about the inspiration. It gives you a little, oh, this is January's yarn, because it gives me a little sneak peek of February, which has butterflies. So I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm super excited. Okay, so it's got knit and crochet patterns in it. Ooh, it's got a cute dude in it too. Lois Borea, Brooklyn Boy Knits. Oh my gosh, the guy on the sticker is real. Okay, for those of you who do know him, please apologize, or please accept my apology. I don't know, but like, super cute, super attractive, tattoo, looks like a bad boy in knits. Hello. Okay, so I guess it talks about him. After going viral on the internet for knitting on the subway commute in late 2017, he began turning his passion for fiber arts into a platform he uses to influence community change and excitement. In 2018, he joined the Hat Not Hate anti-bullying campaign and has been featured in the New York Times, CBS News, Telemundo, and NY1. He uses his work to break down gender norms and tackle issues like diversity and inclusion within the fiber arts. Alright, that's amazing. Super amazing. So then it talks about the different yarns you could have got, because there's always a couple of different varieties, and it's a mystery which ones you're going to get. And this is the sock yarn box, but it was sold out. And then it has some knitting patterns and some crochet patterns. And it's just really neat, even if I don't knit the patterns, to add to my collection. Look at the sock pattern. Super cute. Okay, so there's that. I believe that is it for loot. So I guess it's time to talk a little bit about life. So I actually made episode 2 of my podcast already, and I was editing it, and my phone said I didn't have enough storage, and so I had uploaded my video segments onto my movie maker, and I went in my photo section and started deleting things, and I deleted pieces of my video there, thinking because it's in my maker that it would be safe. That did not work. So an entire podcast disappeared. I was a little upset about it. And then we had a death in the family of someone who was pretty close to us. And she was really young and beautiful. And when I say beautiful, I mean she was outward gorgeous, but I mean like her soul. Like, she was so nice and amazing and the kindest person you will ever meet. It was the closest to, for someone who's super Christian, it was the closest to being to, Jesus or God on earth. Like, she would help everybody and was friendly and smiling and always made you feel good. She is my husband's cousin, and she was also one of my friends, and so it hit home on a couple different platforms. We also work together. I work at 2 facilities, and I'm a little scared about going back to the one where she worked, because she was kind of like the highlight of the show and was a big aspect there, and I'm a little nervous about how I'm going to handle going back without her there. But I know it's a necessary part of healing, so at some point that will happen. So we're still working through that. There's some goods and some bads. Some days are a little bit easier. So that took a lot of my time, which is part of why I am so late on podcasting the real episode 2. So, that might be the name of the segment, the real episode 2. And then I went back to nursing school, and it is intense, super fun. I'm learning a lot. I'm feeling like I actually know things, and my confidence is growing. But it's just taking a lot of my time. And then I do Destination Imagination with 2 of my boys and some of their friends, and that takes some of my time. And then we're a big sports family, so time. Not enough time. So that's why it's taking me so long to get this one. Let's see. I had a kiddo with a concussion at the beginning of basketball season who has been able to play, so I've caught some of his games. He has a game tonight that I'm going to catch, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then my next basketball player broke his 2 fingers, so he was in a tournament. It was a weekend long. It was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Saturday game, I think it was his second game of the tournament, he broke what we thought was 2 fingers. So he was playing. There was no signs of him getting hurt, so you couldn't tell. He wasn't acting differently. The game ended, and then he came over, and his hands were shaking, and I was like, what is going on? And he's like, oh, my fingers hurt. I, stubbed it on the ball, and I'm like, oh, that hurts. So we thought he had like, like dead finger, like you make it numb and it really hurts. So we put some ice on it and it was swollen. The middle one looked worse than the pointer. So we iced it and I was like, it's probably a sprain. It really hurts. We'll do some buddy tape. We'll do some, ice and elevation. Because when you're a mom who's a nurse, you don't freak out. Like there's this, I don't know what you call it on Facebook. It's like a poster. It's not a meme, I don't think, but it's a picture of a child duck, like holding its leg, and a mom duck, I'm assuming, was a nurse and was just kind of like, get a glass of water, or get some ice, like just ridiculous of like, oh yeah, it's totally fine. So I tend to do that with my kids, and I don't freak out. Unless it's respiratory, and it's the only time that I get really panicky with my kids because breathing is life. So I was like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. I had to work that night, so we came home, and I took a nap, and he woke me up, and he came over, and he was in tears, and his middle finger was black. Okay, sorry. So I'm supposed to be waking up now, but I'm already ahead of the game. So my alarm just interrupted me. So his finger turned black. His dad brought him to the urgent care. They did some x-rays, and it looked like the pointer one was broken, like off to the side near his growth plate, and that this one that looked awful was not broken. But they did admit that it was really swollen, and sometimes it's hard to get an x-ray of something that's swollen. So needless to say, they referred us to ortho. We went, they did another x-ray, and apparently what happened is he did break the pointer finger right on the outside near his growth plate, but he dislocated this middle joint called your pip. So he pulled that out of place and it went back together. And when you do that, there's a lot of swelling and the tendons get kind of angry, and sometimes it doesn't go back. Like, you can still use it and it's still the same shape, but it's usually a little bit bigger than the rest of your knuckles. So this kid, in the middle of a basketball game, broke a finger, dislocated a joint, and finished the game. In fact, I guess when he was telling them at urgent care, he had to do this whole, like, sportscaster broadcast thing. It's like 5 minutes long before he got to the point of where and how he hurt his fingers. So he was really upset that he couldn't play basketball. It's been a couple weeks. We went back, and they told him that it's healing nicely. He needs to do some range of motion exercises, which is basically, moving your joints the way they're supposed to make sure that he has continued mobility and strength, and to be really careful, keep the buddy taped for 2 weeks. So he played yesterday. This kid is a beast. Like, nothing stops him. So I'm really worried he's going to re-break it. But he knows that will mean he ends up in a cast. He's fully aware of what's going to happen. He knows he needs to be careful. So at this point, there's not a whole lot I can do. My daughter got her permit, so she's a little bit behind in that area just because she had a lot going on last year that was taking her focus. And so this year we went, and she took her permit test, and she passed, and she's been wanting to drive. Like, every time she sees someone go outside or turn the car on or has the key, she's like, where are you going? Can I drive? So that's been kind of fun, a little scary, not gonna lie. But just because I'm mom and I have anxiety, not because she gives me reason to worry. So that's exciting. And my youngest is in Cub Scouts. My male two did Cub Scouts for several years. My daughter did Girl Scouts for several years. And we've had about 2 years off from Scouts. So it's kind of exciting to be back in it. So he is at the tiger level, and he just got his bobcat, which is the first badge you get, and his first couple of belt loops, and he's just so excited. I actually forgot to talk to you again about books. So I'm a huge avid reader. I love reading. So I had mentioned that I would talk to you about what I'm reading and looking for book suggestions. I am currently reading a Throne of Glass series by Sarah Maas. It starts with, I'm not even going to be able to tell you that, my brain's not working. So it's 6 or 7 books. It's amazing. You may have heard of her from A Court of Thrones and Roses. I haven't read that yet. That's another series by her. But it's marketed for young adult, but I seem to really enjoy young adult. It's not watered down, it's not childish, it does have some, complex problem solving and character development. The characters are so intense, it feels like I know them intimately, which is a sign of a great book. So I highly recommend the series A Throne of Glass by Sarah Maas, and I will preemptively recommend a Court of Thrones and Roses. I know a lot of yarn dyers are creating yarn colorways based on that book series. So if my yarn friends are telling everyone that they're good and I'm in love with her first series, they're good. What else? I'm also reading Intersect and Parallel by, I cannot read who it's by, but it is really short. It's not as cheesy as a supermarket romance, but is somewhat of that nature of cheesiness. But it's about a time traveler and deals kind of with like past lives and making things right. So it's really got my interest. It's really good brain fluff, what I call brain fluff. So not that the book isn't good, but I don't have to use too much of my brain power to stay with the plot line. So it's been really nice, mindless reading. What else did I write here? And then things that I love. So, I actually started, my mom is in love with Sue Grafton and has been, I don't know, as long as I can remember. So she is going through this massive, declutter, minimalist phase at her house and is getting rid of a lot of things. So she, I think she has these all the way to U. So it's A through C. Not entirely sure that all of those are published yet, but that's kind of the scheme or schematic of her book. So this is the first one. A is for Alibi. It's mystery suspense, I guess would be a good way to put it. It's kind of got some hint of like a vigilante, underdog private investigator. So I actually just started this yesterday. So I don't have a feel for how it's going to be, but the first paragraph was amazing, and I do like these kind of things. It's kind of like a more adulted, not adulted as an inappropriate context, but more sophisticated Stephanie Plum. So if you've read any of the Stephanie Plum books, and of course I'm blanking who writes that. I'll have to put it here. So there's a book series called Stephanie Plum, and she is a bounty hunter who is terrible at her job, but super cute, super adorable, has some love drama, and runs into these wicked, weird situations. And so I like that kind of underdog doing what's right thing. And so this has that vibe, but it seems like it's written more in a serious nature, whereas Stephanie Plum is more of like a humorous take on the life of a bounty hunter. So both of those are good. I think I'm gonna like this, and I highly recommend the Stephanie Plum books. She has a grandmother named Grandma Mazur. You may have seen the movie One for the Money, and that is the first Stephanie Plum book made into a movie. And she has this grandmother who is just so crazy and loves gossip and loves going to the funeral home and going to all the viewings of the dead people just to see what people are going to say about them. I don't know. It's hilarious. That is also another brain fluff. I super love it, but there's a mystery that you have to solve. And then anything by Stephen King, anything by Dean Koontz. Highly love both of them. Stephen King, I always joke, is going to be like my next husband. Obviously, I'm a dreamer. But what I like about him is that a lot of his work comes from things that scare him and nightmares that he has. And he had an accident when I was in high school, a major, I think it was a vehicle accident or something of that nature. And he got really weird and didn't think he was going to write again. And I remember being really upset and kind of grieving for his writing. Luckily, that's not how it ended up. He ended up coming back and writing. He did write a couple of what I call brain dump books first, and what I mean by that is he's this wonderful writer who can write amazing things, and 99.99% of the time he does, but sometimes he has these books that come out, and they're just, I'd be surprised. I'm surprised, like, if I looked at it and did, like, a blind book date and didn't look at the title and the author, I would not connect it to Stephen King. I would connect it to someone who's trying to be like him. And I think he actually wrote a blog about how sometimes he just needs to let out the junk, and so I call it a brain dump. And he may have coined that word, but I'm not positive because I read this when I was in like 2004 when I was a college student at UVM. My husband's trying to make sure I'm awake. Okay, so I'm almost done. I'm so sorry. So he does some brain dump. So if you can tolerate the fact that there are some that every now and again just aren't that great, he's pretty amazing otherwise. Okay, my favorite books by him are The Cell, From a Buick 8, and Under the Dome. The Outsider, was pretty good too. But I really like when he goes more of a sci-fi direction. And then Dean Koontz, I love just about everything, but my favorite is called The Taking, highly recommended. So my husband keeps calling, so I'm going to let you go. And if you just want to, down below, comment what you're reading and maybe give me a couple book suggestions, I would highly appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. You can like and subscribe, share this video. I'm trying to build my subscribers. I want to do a giveaway once I get to 50 subscribers. You can follow me here on YouTube at KnittaCass Creates. You can follow me on Instagram at KnittaCass Creates 16. And I'm on Ravelry as KnittaCass. Thank you. Oh,